Well, good evening, all you long distance motorcycle riders and roadside attraction people, because I'm doing roadside attractions this year on this ride. I left May 9th from St. Augustine, and I was going to spend a night in Jasper, but that didn't work out, and so I just pushed on, and I was going to go up to see an attraction that was up in Georgia. And when I got about 40 miles out, it's like the whole weather system was crashing around. I mean, there was crosswind so strong I was getting blown sideways in my lane and stuff, and there was like sheets of rain so hard I couldn't hardly see. I was like following a semi for a while, but then it's like, you know what? It's like I slowed down to like 50 and turned on my emergencies and stuff, so nobody was running up my butt. And then I I was just like seeking shelter, and so I pulled over at a rest area and was looking for a hotel. I found one in Cordelia, Georgia, and so that last 30 miles or so, it took quite a while, and it was pretty challenging. So I got a tornado warning. There was lightning everywhere. I mean, it was pretty interesting. Let's put it that way when you're on a motorcycle. So I got to the hotel and checked in and unloaded all my stuff. Was looking to get something for supper, and evidently all the lightning strikes in the area. There was a crystals there, and there's hardly no crystals where I live. You got to go down to Daytona or Ormond by the Sea or something where they have one still, but nothing really local. They closed them all down there where I am, and the employees were all sitting around. The computers were all down because of a lightning strike. So I thought, okay, I'll go to the Circle K, And I walked up to the front door, and all the employees are just milling around too. And there's a sign on the door that says their computers are down too, and the pumps are down. And people were like pulling up to get gas, and the pumps weren't working, so they were coming up. They didn't put any bags on the handles. The people were coming up. They had to read the sign on the door, and they were like mad, and that was kind of funny. So the only thing left to walk to was right next to the hotel was Chick-fil-A, and Chick-fil-A was working. Maybe there is, a higher being watching out after them or something, because they had a 4-lane thing under an awning, and it was packed like it normally is, the line going around and stuff. So I just went in and ordered and stuff. Uh, so I had the Chick-fil-A thing, but while I was there, I happened to notice, like right there by the crystals was a roadside attraction. It was a Titan II missile that the Rotary got their hands on, and and put it up. It's like a redneck nuke missile or something like that. It was pretty awesome. I mean, weapons of war, and then I guess they would never use in a war. So evidently after that they were used to like launch satellites and the early Gemini thing or whatever. Some of those missiles. So I did get that was a unexpected roadside attraction. So anyway, I thought it was 12:30 at night. The fire alarm goes off inside the hotel, and what an irritating buzzer siren thing that was. So everybody it's a 3-story thing, so everybody's coming out. Elevators are all locked down. Everybody's having to go down the stairs, and we're all waiting in the front lobby outside under the entrance, which is covered. And it was like almost an hour before we got an all clear, and there was like no fire. Evidently there was a lightning strike at the parking lot behind the building, and it jostled the fire alarm system into thinking there was a fire. So it was like 2:30 before we were able to get back to our rooms. So the next morning, uh, get free breakfast, and it was okay. Not as good as some of the other hotels that I've stayed at with the same name, but it was okay. And it was still raining, and I was watching the weather radar on my AccuWeather thing and stuff, and it said it was supposed to clear by 10 o'clock or so. And so about 9:30 I started getting all my crap together and getting it out close to the bike, and about loading the bike up. And then about 10 o'clock it was overcast, but you could see that faint disc of a sun there, but it stopped raining. So I I loaded her all up, and I went back to the Circle K, which is right next to two down from the hotel, and the pumps were working again. So I topped off my tank, and I was heading to Leslie, Georgia, which was the Rural Telephone Museum, and I got there, and what a small town that is, man. There's like I don't even think there wasn't even a fast food place there. It was there was like this strip long building at the very end was the city hall, and there was like the rest of it was like antique stores, and so the parking lot gate was closed. So I walked up to the building, and it was closed. They evidently had been flooded a few weeks before or something like that. And that's like this is like so typical of all my yearly trips to places where I go to some place and you look at the Google thing or whatever, and they're like, it's open 9 to whatever, and then you get there and it's like, nope, it's not open at all. And so I went back to the bike, and there was a bearded guy there, John, who was running the one of the antique stores, and Patrick, he was a local, and there was this other guy, Steve, who was on a bicycle, and evidently he's homeless. So I guess there's homeless in every size town in America, but he was just passing through. But he rode that bicycle from Maine, and he was headed to Florida. I don't know why. This is not the time of year to go to Florida because it's like a furnace down there, you know, in the summer months. But that's where he was headed, and it was just him and the bicycle, and he didn't have any gear or clothes or anything. I don't know what this guy was doing, unless he had it stashed somewhere else where, you know, he was spending the night. But I found that out later from talking to Patrick and John, that this guy wasn't local. He was like the homeless guy. But they told me to go to the business, which is a telephone company across the street from the telephone museum, and maybe they would let me in to take a few pictures. So I walked back over there, and there was a nice lady at the desk, and she was very polite, but it was like, no, they had just had a meeting there about a week or so ago, and it was like, it's so bad evidently on the inside that they're not letting anybody in there because they're like trying to get contractors to come in here and start cleaning up, which I've seen videos of it on YouTube and stuff, and it's like really interesting because I mean, this guy's got like, he's got telephones that goes all the way back to, I mean, before even the hand crank stuff, you know, I mean, so I thought it was like kind of interesting, and it's like in an out of the way place here in Georgia, a small town. It was a roadside attraction. I took a few pictures outside, went back to the bike. There was a fiberglass Ronald McDonald sitting out front of one of the antique stores on a park bench and stuff. So I took a few pictures of myself with a Ronald, and then I hopped on the bike, and it was like there was a couple of other places. I mean, well, there's actually quite a lot of attractions in this area. I mean, but I hot-footed it over here to a KOA in Americus, which was just like 5-6 miles, and I got in. I didn't have a reservation because you know what? It's so hard to make reservations in advance when you're in a motorcycle because of the weather. You just don't know. So luckily they're a very nice couple that are managing the place, and there's 4 tent sites and stuff. And I asked them, I said, any of them hammock friendly? And she goes, well, the manager generally doesn't allow hammocks, you know. And I said, well, this is not like a recreational backyard hammock, you know. I says, I mean, I have tree straps, you know, because you go to state parks, you have to have at least a 1-inch tree strap, you know, so you don't bark the trees and stuff. And she goes, well, I'll call her. Well, the lady didn't answer, so you know what? It's better to ask forgiveness than permission. So I rigged it all. I rigged it all up, and I mean, I even got my tarp cover over top because there's a chance it may rain tonight or something like that. And it's like, I'd rather put the tarp up wet than put my hammock up wet, because it even has a rain fly and all. But still, I mean, you know, putting your gear up wet, generally not a good idea. So yeah, so we're camping tonight, you know, and I got my stove out. I got I got some spicy ramen noodles I'm going to do. It's just simple stuff. And I found these little packets of miso soup that are, it takes like 8 ounces of water, and it's really kind of amazing because you look at the freeze dried shreds of seaweed that's in there, and you think, oh, really? Seriously? And whoa, do they like swell up like a sponge, and they end up being like really a lot of stuff that's in there. So we're gonna try that tonight and see. And I talked to the lady, and she said, oh yeah, you get any leftovers, just dump them down the toilet and then just rinse it out in the sink. It's fine, because it's like, because I told her, I'm not doing anything fancy, nothing messy, sticky, greasy, that kind of stuff. She goes, yeah, that's fine. So that's going to be this, and then I'm only staying the night, so I'm going to pack up in the morning, and then I don't know. There's there's several places here local, but part of it is I want to see some of these historic sites and attractions, and part of it's the weather. I mean, I just don't know how this is all going to go down. So we're going to see. It's like it's supposed to be a 20-day trip. We're only on day 2, 18 to go. I don't know if Tennessee is going to be possible or not, because I've been to Tennessee before, and yeah, if you're a motorcyclist, you love those twisties and the hills and all that. But I can tell you, you don't want to be doing that when it's hard rain and thunderstorming, especially with the kind of weather systems that have been going through here lately. So we're going to play it by ear. We'll see what we're going to do. It may not be a total 20-day trip, but we'll see what we can do. I mean, I'm retired. I'm flexible. I don't really have a schedule. Just trying to dodge the weather, and I'm trying to have a good time and live my retirement as best I can. So on that note, I'm going to say good night, God bless, and look for my next blog and see me like chew the air up. So all right, so good night, God bless. Maybe good night, God bless.